戦は成功しました。人をした後ご報告を願います。
Yo, just doing some prep time for the patch. And I'm going out with a friend. I don't know when he's gonna show up. I'm just killing some time. Stockpile some +2s. Since the update's gonna be, I believe, on the 15th, probably our time. I think that's usually when they update, so... Cut some of the grinding out now.
Mission バッチリでしたよ。さあ、あとは祈祷するのみです。お疲れ様です。おかえりなさい。
I bought Children of Morta for the Switch, and that was going to be my next project, but it runs like shit. It runs really bad. The game seemed fun enough, and they're going to be adding a lot of content to it, but the frame rate is terrible. I don't get how a 2D sprite pixel art game can perform that badly. There's not even that much going on the screen. I made a post on the Reddit just now. I hope that maybe the developers will respond, because if they're not going to make it any better, then I might just buy it again on PC. It's like perfect kind of grindy game for the Switch, but not when it runs that bad. It didn't look too bad in the videos I watched, but I guess those were just like isolated situations. Getting pretty tired of games that have no business running badly, running at like 20 FPS. The Wizard of Legend ran pretty badly on Switch too until they patched it. Now it's in pretty good state. And I believe they're both Unity games, so maybe it can be fixed. It's just frustrating buying something and not even wanting to play it because of the performance.
Mission バッチリでしたよ。さあ、あとは祈祷するのみです。おかえりなさい。海域での行動終わったの。ミッション目標を達成しました。祈祷準備を始めてください。素晴らしい戦いでしたね。お疲れ様です。本作戦は成功しました。祈祷した後ご報告を
Oh, the Kakarot game? It's probably something I'd like rent off GameFly. I would not pay for that. Not right now, anyway. Kinda wish they'd just make, like, a Dragon Ball beat 'em up. And just skip all the other stuff, because just playing through the same battles against the same villains is, like... It's been getting old for a long time. The only time they've ever really deviated from it was Xenoverse. Which, say what you like about those games, at least it was doing something different with the same characters. With the whole what-ifs and stuff. I thought that was actually a pretty cool idea. But the Kakarot game is just the same shit we've done 1,000 times by now. It's not terribly interesting to me. I don't know how the gameplay is, I haven't really seen anything on it, but... I don't know, Namco games are like $30 like 3 months after they come out, like this game was. I don't really feel really inclined to buy it right away. I would need to see some high-level gameplay first. It's like Star Wars has kind of been deviating from just playing through the movies for the umpteenth time recently, with like that Fallen Order game and stuff, but Dragon Ball has still been kind of just repeating the same thing for a really long time. From what I saw, the combat just looks like Xenoverse combat, which is not terrible, but not great either. Not like something I'd go out of my way to play. Passable, I guess. I don't know if it's any different. This game has really long load times, even on an SSD. Like, it doesn't even load that much faster than the Switch version, which is kind of weird. It's not like my SSDs are any old either. They're like only like a year old. Yeah, I don't think I want to pay a full $50 for that. I could probably restart my GameFly account, reactivate it, and try it out, maybe. I don't know how it runs on a base PS4, though. Probably 30 FPS. I don't know, the thing about anime games, it's like really hard to find people who actually care about the mechanics and explain them. You know, like character action games and stuff like this, there's always at least one person that can give you like really detailed explanations of the mechanics and help you learn the game and decide if it's for you, but with those licensed anime games, most of the big channels don't even really play it that well, so I don't know if they've actually, I don't know anything about the combat mechanics in that. They get tons of views, so it's not like they're doing anything wrong, it's just you care more about the gameplay than whatever license the game is based on. It can be very hard to find good information. Like, even something as niche as this has BK Brandt, who's like the best God Eater content creator by far. And I don't really feel like I need to make guides for this because he already has everything covered. But it's hard to find that for anime stuff. Let me look that up right now. I wonder if anybody has anything about the mechanics. I don't really feel like being the guinea pig on it, but I am curious to see like how it plays. $45 on Voidu. That's not bad. That's about the price I would pay for it if I was interested. Yeah, Disney put all that shit to an end when they bought it out. Which is funny because no one likes those new movies at all. They don't like what they did to the characters and how shitty the story was and stuff, and how the new characters barely had anything to do. You know, they killed all that stuff, I guess just because they didn't want to, I know making movies, new movies, after the original 3 is difficult because of, like, 30 years of books and shows and comics and stuff, but I don't think that was the best decision. Okay, I'm not seeing anything about the actual combat mechanics. This is all just character progression, which is cool and all, but that's not really what I'm trying to find. I can't find anybody talking about the actual gameplay. This is what I'm talking about here. I'm on like Google right now and I can't find anything about the actual combat. It's all just the RPG stuff, which is not really that useful to me. I mean, I like progression and stuff. I'm fine with grinding, but I need to know exactly what it is the combat's like before I buy something. Yeah, I'm drawing blanks here. I can't find shit. So I have the money to buy it right now. I mean, if it was like a cool looking game, I would give it a chance, but I need some gameplay or something to go off of before I just go blindly purchase something. Let me check Gamatsu. They actually bother to translate a lot of mechanic stuff, not just screenshots and trailers. Dude, even these trailers are like barely showing the gameplay. Like, not at all. The progression actually looks pretty cool, but like, show me how the game works. That's what gets me to buy a game, not just a bunch of flashy graphics. Hey, it looks nice. Maybe the combat's just really shitty and they're hoping people won't notice. The trailer I just watched went through like everything but the combat mechanics. And they kind of just glossed over them. It's mostly just like, look at how pretty the graphics are and all the grinding you can do, but I don't particularly care about any of that if the combat required to do all that grinding is not fun.
ミッションバッチリでしたよ。さあ、あとは祈祷するのみです。
I like Xenoverse for what it was. I mean, it was a fun game. I am familiar with the Dragon Ball property. I used to be into it when I was in middle school and stuff. It's mostly just the artificial difficulty that really pissed me off. I actually liked the character progression in that game. I thought it made it different from most Dragon Ball games, which just have, like, below average gameplay, and they're pretty much completely just carried by the IP and the graphics. I mean, it actually tried to do something different. Trying to play that game seriously was a dumb idea. The netcode was awful, and there were tons of awful builds, but as a single-player game, it was very fun. I enjoyed playing it. The artificial difficulty sucked, but the other aspects of the game were pretty good. I find it crazy that people, like, try to take that awful multiplayer seriously, but as a single-player game, it's very serviceable. And if this new one is, like, you know, improved gameplay-wise, then, it wouldn't be too bad. I know from a content creator standpoint that I would make almost no money back playing it because those big anime channels have a massive stranglehold on that whole niche. Which is fine, you know, they're very dedicated, passionate people just like I am, but it's not something I'd buy to expect to get a return of investment on, like, you know, Orochi, stuff like that, things I have more control over. I know the guides I made for Orochi will get a lot more views when the game's available. A lot of people aren't even searching for it right now because they're not aware that it's available in English already. Xenoverse was a cool idea. It was actually doing something different with the franchise instead of just repeating the same story over and over. The whole timeline changes and stuff was actually pretty cool. But yeah, taking that game seriously is not the best idea. Playing it casually, sure, it was both of them were pretty enjoyable games. I'll do some research on that Kakarot game. Comes out in like 4 days. So that's what it says on this page I'm looking at on my second monitor.
功しました。祈祷した後ご報告を願います。
You look on game facts. Sometimes the people there actually give a shit about mechanics. I can't find anything anything about the mechanics at all right now. These people are saying it looks similar to Xenoverse. There's a thread on here that says, well, why can't they get the combat right? I should probably read that. That sounds like somebody who actually has some sense. I mean, it's a Cyber Connect 2 game, so their games usually don't have great gameplay. They look great and they do whatever IP they're licensed to do justice, but gameplay-wise, they're always very lacking, usually one-dimensional, not a lot of depth to them. I'm sure this one is no different. Let me read this thread right now. Yeah, I think I'll pass on this. It's like rental tier for me, not something I'd buy. Just setting myself up for disappointment, even though I had like no interest in the game at all. No, Cyber Connect 2 is not a developer that I trust to actually have good gameplay. Their games look great, but not much else. Which is fine because they sell like crazy, but for somebody who's a gameplay-oriented gamer, they don't really have a lot to offer me. Maybe when it's like 20 bucks or something, which will probably be by like March. At the rate Namco games go. Their games don't hold value at all. Out of all the like Japanese publishers, they put their stuff dirt cheap. Faster than any of the others. I think DMC5's only been like under $20 on sale like just the past few months. If it was a Namco game, it would have been by last year.
目標完全に沈黙殲滅成功ですお疲れ様でした おかえりなさい
I think this game, I think I got it for like 30 bucks. I think I got it for 30 bucks, like less than 6 months after it came out. I don't remember exactly when I bought this, but it had been out for several months already, and it was already like almost 50% off. I mean, if this was like Monster Hunter, where you absolutely need to party with people and there's like events that you can miss and stuff, then it wouldn't be as much of a good deal. But this is a very single-player oriented hunting game, much like Tokiden, so getting it for cheap is actually a steal, because you actually can clear all the content in the game by yourself, which is not for everybody. I mean, a lot of people like Monster Hunter because it's very team-oriented. It's a great game to play with friends, be it online or real life or both, but the downside of that is scheduling, especially if you're an adult, you know. You don't always have time to know life an event when they put it out, and your friends may not be available too. So that's why I like this in Tokiden. I really never have felt pressure to play with anybody. So the fact that it was this cheap was really nice. "10 hours just to get past the Frieza saga. I wonder how much of that is padding." I mean, I can still play RPGs. I can still get through a Tales game and get really immersed in it, but the gameplay has to be really good for me to do that. If the gameplay's not good, then the game will get dropped. And that's exactly what happened to me with Tales of Zestiria. I dropped that game because the combat was awful, and the surrounding mechanics were gimmicky and not fun. There's a lot of aspects of that game that they tried to change that made it a lot less fun overall. But I also put like 90 hours into Tales of Berseria, what, like 2.5 years ago. Not that long ago. I can play games like that for long periods of time, but there has to be a good hook for me, and the hook is always the gameplay. Never really thought of the length of the game to be a good testament to its quality. A lot of my favorite games can be beaten in under an hour. You need to have a good gameplay loop and hook to keep me interested.
ミッションバッチリでしたよ。さあ、あとは祈祷するのみです。
I'm hunting for +2 God Arcs, which are basically this game's loot. And you basically fuse them into your existing gear to power them up. Right now I have my Biting Edge maxed out, but I'm trying to get the Short Blade maxed out. Also, there's going to be an update in the next 3 days that's going to increase the cap to +50. So, I'm trying to get a little bit of a surplus here.
ミッションバッチリでしたよ。さあ、あとは
Should probably just see if there's like a cheat engine thing for this, because this is... the drop rate is not very good. And I don't play this with any people. I might look into doing that. Well, this is the fastest way to do it. Because the map ends in 3 seconds.
素晴らしい戦いでしたね。
Before, the grind used to be really bad, but recently they added these ones that give you 2 upgrades on 1 drop.
討伐対象のオラクル反応消失。祈祷準備どうぞ。
よし。
So you would only need 23 to max them out at +45 instead of 45. It drops 5 every time. Yeah, and I have stuff on the gear to make it drop more often. Better quality.
討伐対象のオラクル反応消失。祈祷準備どうぞ。無事終わった。 おかえりなさい。 お疲れ様です。本作戦は成功しました。祈祷した後。
I just guarded the explosion with the dive without trying. Oh, my inventory's full. Well, I guess that's all I'm gonna do with that for now, then.
あら、おかえりなさい。ご飯にする？お風呂にする？それとも筋トレ？
After playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I definitely appreciate how snappy the menus are in this. It only takes like 2 minutes to get rid of all these. In Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, you can only hold like 1,000, and you get way more per level in that game, and you can only delete them 10 at a time. So whenever you had a full inventory, it would take a ridiculous amount of time to get rid of them all. And to make it worse, the loot was not particularly interesting in that game either. A lot of it was just like boring damage modifiers. It's nothing that really like altered your playstyle or anything. The main reason I stopped with that game was the load times. The load times were awful, and pretty much all the new modes they've added are basically like supposed to be short snippets of gameplay, but all of that is completely ruined by the load times. You spend more time waiting for it to load than actually playing the game. Which isn't too bad, you know, if it was like a home console game, but it's a portable game, so I think portable games definitely benefit from having shorter load times, so that it's something you can actually bust out of your backpack or whatever and play for a little bit. You won't make any progress playing that game in a few minutes. That's the issue. I still enjoyed playing it, but I feel like it needs to be on a stronger console, and they need to like actually address the problems. Like the 50 years of load times. Damn, I have a ton in here. I'll keep the health. Plus, nobody was watching my content for it either. There was like no content creator market for that game at all, so it was a pretty easy decision to drop it. If it had somehow performed well for me, I probably would have played it for longer, but nobody really seemed interested in content for it. Pretty easy decision to just drop it, move on to something else. Same thing with KOF All-Star. When I got that malware from the emulator, I just dropped the game instantly. I didn't even have to think twice about it. No one was watching me play it. And games, mobile games in particular, any free-to-play game, basically the people who are gonna have a stranglehold on videos for that are the people that can whale on it and spend thousands, and I am definitely not that kind of person. Very hard to break out in the free-to-play market unless you have the money to whale on all the new items and stuff and tell people about them. I don't have that kind of money. It's not impossible, but it's very improbable that anybody will care. Best game of 2019 for me was probably Ninja Warriors once again. By a long shot. I know people would expect me to say DMC5, but I think the inclusion of V really turned me off that game in a lot of ways. Also, the mods make the game a lot better, but it's a real pain in the ass to set all that up every single time you want to play. No, I find myself playing something else when I just want to, like, get a quick action game fix. That's going to be fixed by the Community Edition, but I haven't heard anything about that yet. That's kind of been, they haven't been talking much about it, but the Community Edition is supposed to have, like, all the mods baked into a DLL file, so that you won't have to fight Machine Engine anymore. I definitely plan on playing it more when that happens, but right now I just haven't really felt like it much. It's annoying having to have, like, 3 trainers up just to play it. V as a character just completely killed the replay value for me in that game, which is funny because DMC5 as a campaign is much better than 4's by a long shot, because it doesn't have any dumb gimmicks or puzzles or anything that are, to be fair, interesting to do the first time, but after that one time, they just get in the way. Like, you already know the solution, all it's really doing is just preventing you from enjoying the combat. I think DMC5's campaign's pacing was really good, and they actually listened to the complaints from 4 that all the puzzles and awful platforming and stuff really bogged the game down, especially when you were just looking for, you know, a quick fix, a couple fights or something. But I feel like the inclusion of V was very divisive and killed the replay value for a lot of people, including myself. So I definitely say Ninja Warriors once again. It was probably my game of the year last year. I mean, I thought it's cool that they didn't give in to like modern AAA video game trends where everything has to have padding and like puzzles and a big open world and stuff that just sucks the fun out of the game. It's cool that they didn't give in to that, but I think the inclusion of V definitely was very divisive for a lot of people. I mean, luckily the Bloody Palace is pretty good in DMC5 as well. Once you unlock it, you can play specific floors, you can suspend it at any time. So, not liking V is not that much of an issue, but if you like the mods and stuff, the game is a real pain in the ass to play, and there's just no other way to sugarcoat it. DMC has always been like that, but with DMC5, it's like the people that have been playing 4 for like a decade, they won't touch 5 unless they have like 50 mods on, and even somebody like me, I'm pretty decent at DMC, but I'm not like top level because I just didn't have the patience to deal with all the trainers and mods and stuff just to play it at a high level. The mods definitely do enhance the game, and just the extra couple steps of having to set everything up can really make you not want to play. Luckily, the Community Edition will fix that, but I haven't heard anything about that in months. I assume they're still working on it. No, I very much just want the combat uninterrupted with no gimmicks. I feel like gimmicks just bog the game down, and they are fun the first time. Like, I enjoyed solving the puzzles in DMC3. I thought most of them were actually pretty well designed, and they had pretty cool solutions to them, but as I played the game more and more, I got increasingly tired of them, and that's just a problem with the, you know, combat-focused games in general. You try to quote unquote, you know, break up the action, but all it really does is it breaks it up too much. And the more you play the game, the less you want to interact with those elements, and you just want straight combat. That's why the Bloody Palace is such a good thing. The problem with DMC4 was the puzzles were awful, the platforming was even worse, and to make it worse, you went through the same half of the game twice. DMC4, as good of a game as it is, it's greatly carried by its combat. Every other element of the game is pretty bad, honestly. Even some of the enemy design is questionable, like the chimeras and stuff. Those are some of the worst enemies in any DMC game, in my opinion. And DMC5 is definitely a much better game overall in terms of like the presentation, the campaign, not having any dumb puzzles or anything. Yeah, Yukimura Den's campaign has a ton of forced minigames and stuff too, which are like fun the first time, but playing through them again is not interesting.
お疲れ様です。本作戦は成功しました。起動した後、ご報告を願います。
Yeah, I'm trying to get a plus 45 right now, Rico, but I'm going out for dinner with my buddy soon. As soon as he sends me a message, I gotta hop in the shower and leave. I'm hoping I can. I've gotten a couple plus 2s doing this, but not many. Assault Spy as a game had a very good campaign as well. It was mostly just straight fighting. There was a stealth section, or there is a stealth section, but myself and the other beta testers on that game actually told him to put in a way to skip it. And now when you play the game, there's just a place where you can just skip the stealth level, so that's one of my favorite games that I speedrun, because it's just like an hour of straight action. Very fun game to play. But if that stealth section was mandatory, I would probably not play it as much as I did. I put like 70 hours into that game. Mostly because it didn't bog you down with dumb gimmicks and puzzles and stuff, which are only interesting to interact with once. Yeah, I mean, actual puzzle games are very much the same way, too. Puzzle games really don't have that much gameplay, because you already know all the solutions. The only way to really enjoy playing them again is, like, speedruns, or playing them, like, 5 years later when you don't remember everything. No, I don't really think puzzles and action games really do much of anything besides just piss the player off. Finally, got one at least. Most anticipated game this year? Not really a whole lot has been announced. I'd say Orochi 4 Ultimate, but I've already cleared all the content in that game on the Switch. One Piece looks pretty good. I'm not sure if I'm really sold on all the changes they're making, but it's definitely something I'll play. As long as the campaign isn't as bad as it was in 3. And they still have some decent customization. I'm most interested in playing that. Zero ZX Collection as well, because I really like those games, but I've played them before, and it's also not something I'd play for the channel, just for personal use. There's not really going to be a lot of Megatons released, because generation's winding down. I wouldn't be surprised if E3 is like almost entirely just like next gen stuff. Persona 4 Scramble, I watched some gameplay of that, and it gave me really bad PTSD to Astral Chain. Like, I watched like there was someone playing it for like 2 hours, and like maybe 30 minutes of it was gameplay. The rest was talking. And I get that that's Persona's thing. I'm not a fan of Persona at all. That's part of it too. I don't care about all that crap. I just want the Muso gameplay. And I paid almost full price for Astral Chain, and I hated that game. It was just, everything about it was not fun. And there was too much talking and walking around instead of actual gameplay. I can't really say I'm interested in it. I also don't think it's going to get a PC port either, because Atlas doesn't put their shit on PC, so that's another thing too. I'm tired of playing Muso games at like 20 FPS. I'm really sick of that. You know, if they put it on PC, I'd be more inclined to give it a chance. And I'm not buying a PS4 Pro this late into the generation either. That doesn't make sense to do either. The games are just much more enjoyable when they run at a locked 60 FPS. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. I watched a video like yesterday, and like probably like 80% of it was talking. You can't skip through all of it, but it's just gonna get in the way. Sounds like it would be a nightmare to keep playing. I don't know, maybe it's structured like an open world game. Or a hunting game. You know how open world games have like tons of mandatory dialogue and missions and stuff, but then once you beat the game, it's pretty much just dick around as much as you want. Maybe it's designed like that. If it does have that kind of design, then maybe I could struggle through it. But I have no idea if the end game is any good either. I'm not going to sit through all that crap if there's nothing after it. I gave Astral Chain like a dozen hours, and I ended up uninstalling the game because it just wasn't fun. The controls, the frame rate, the pacing, and the combat just weren't good. I'm sure I'd actually care about all the talking if I cared about Persona as a franchise, but I don't. I never have, and it's not my kind of game series. Just the core gameplay is not for me. Turn-based combat, dating sims, and 80 hours of talking. I can't do it. I definitely will not be getting that game on release. I'll have to hear about, like, you can like turn the cutscenes off or just have like a gameplay only mode or something. Or the game has like a robust end game or something where I can have fun messing around with builds and stuff and not have to listen to a bunch of crap. Maybe I'll try it. I get that they want it to be like, it's supposed to be like a sequel to Persona 5, so not having all the talking would be a disservice to the people who like Persona 5, but as an outsider, that shit does not interest me at all.
筋トレ
I've thought about getting a jailbroken Switch just for emulation and stuff, not piracy. But it's too expensive. I don't really have the funds to do stuff like that. And I will not jailbreak my Switch because you guys funded half of it, and it's irresponsible for me to do. My stuff's all legit. Alright, 3 more to go. I have a jailbroken Vita, which is great because I have like every retro game ever on there. No, I don't really have much of a need for a jailbroken Switch anyway. You hear the emulation is like somehow not much better on the Switch despite being a much more powerful device. Like it still can't run like full MAME or anything. What is wrong with it for emulation? Like, why is it not good? You'd think that it would be better than the Vita. It's much more recent, powerful hardware. But everything I've heard is the opposite. I just don't know exactly why it's not good for emulation. Can you explain? Huh. Yeah, I don't have any desire to really pirate anything on the Switch. I make enough... I both make enough, I make enough running this channel, and I have enough of a refined taste in games that I'm not really interested in playing a ton of stuff anyway. I can pretty much either afford or rent anything I want to play. So, the only reason I would do that is for emulation, not piracy. And maybe mods, but Switch modding scene seems like it's pretty small right now anyway. Like, I can pretty much buy any $60 game the month it comes out, just with revenue from running this channel, so I don't really have a reason to pirate anything. Unless it was like a really bad PC port. I wish I had done that with that Final Fantasy 15 game, because I spent like hours trying to get it to work and ended up with a $20 coaster. That's the kind of stuff I can justify torrenting, but anything else? Anything else, I don't really have a need to do that.
素晴らしい戦いでしたね。討伐対象のオラクル反応消失。起動準備どうぞ。ああ。
I also have a GameFly account too, which reduces the need to ever want to pirate anything. GameFly is great for Switch games because Switch games are like always Switch taxed and $60 for no reason when they're like $5 on PC. That's all I use my GameFly account for, is Switch games. Like 95% Switch games, like 5% PS4.
お疲れ様です。本作戦は成功しました。起動した後、ご報告を願います。
So why does the Switch like format the? Why does it corrupt the card? Can you explain? I hadn't heard anything about that.
素晴らしい戦いでしたね。
Huh. Well, I'm glad I know that now, as I was considering getting one just for the purpose of emulation. But now I won't. I'll just stick with my Vita.
起動準備どうぞ。
よし、終わった。
Yes, it is. It's a good game.
素晴らしい戦いでしたね。
Also, I should say that I have a legit Vita too that I use for all my purchases. I have like no pirated games on my Vita at all, just ROMs.
達成しました。起動準備を始め
That's all I use it for, is ROMs.
お前ら無事か？
If like a Tales of Innocence R translation patch ever came out, then I would use my legal copy on my modded Vita to play it again. But other than that, I just have like homebrew and stuff on it.
素晴らしい戦いでしたね。
I'm pretty happy to say I played like pretty much every game I wanted to play on the Vita. I have like everything in the library I wanted to play, and I beat pretty much all the ones I enjoyed. No reason to pirate anything. If anything, I should find out how to rip my stuff off my real Vita. Just rip the copies and have them for like an emulator or something. Come on, game, give me 2 more, please. 2 more drops, and I'm done. Yeah, I have an Ashrot Biting Edge at plus 45. I'm working on a short blade right now. And the cap's gonna raise to plus 50 next patch in a few days. So I'll have to do this again. Yeah. No, the power creep in this game isn't that bad. It doesn't really take long to grind things. I just think they should maybe add like a gold sink or something and just let you buy these. Because it takes far longer to get these than it does to craft like pretty much anything in the game. I think that adding a gold sink would be nice. Because the amount of money you make is going to greatly override how much you spend crafting things, especially in the end game where you're pretty much only going to be using things for a specific build or purpose.
本作戦は成功しました。人をした後、ご報告を願います。
Yeah, plus 2 is not enough because you're going to need 25 of them. 25 for plus 50, 23 for plus 45. You would need 30 for plus 60, which what we know right now is going to be 3 updates from now.
おかえりなさい。回帰モード、作戦行動に支障なし。皆さん、これで大将のオラクル反応消失。人を準備、どうぞ。
悪くなかったな。
Got 3 weapon drops, none of them plus 2. Thanks, game.
おかえりなさい。目標完全に沈黙。殲滅成功です。お疲れ様でした。
Oh, good, I'm done for now. Nice. I'll do some more of this to get them ready for plus 50 later. I'm not going to do that right now. Had pretty abysmal luck this stream, just not getting very many.
海域での行動はただでさえ難しいのに。さすがです。
I know this is the one everybody uses to like break the game with Pulse Blade, so I probably need to max this out, but I'm not going to do that right now. I've had enough grinding. All I need to do is get 3 more for both of those weapons, and then I'll be all ready for the next update. That is enough for now. I'm gonna go get some water, and then probably play a little bit longer. Alright, my he's gonna be leaving in about 15 minutes, so I need to hop in the shower. Probably gonna go grab some food. And then when I come back, I do have a couple things I might play. I did get Darksiders Genesis with my ad revenue, so I might play some of that. Uh, I got these. I want to test how the input lag is on these, so I might play these later. And that's pretty much all my new acquisitions for now. I did get Children of Morta, but it runs like shit on the Switch, so I think I'm going to play it a little bit more and see if I want to double dip on the PC version. So it seems like it runs fine on there. It's a pretty fun game. So yeah, I'll be back later. Thanks for watching.